Hello, Matilius258 here, and this is Fractured Space. This is the May 2015 update, and a lot of things have changed, a lot of things have been added, and after I go through all those changes, I'm going to introduce my opinions to what I think the game's development is going towards, and how that is a good and bad thing, to a certain extent. So, first things first, this is what you want to hear anyways. Ships. There are two new ships in the Zerg line. There's the Carrier, which is a super heavy, super big, because this thing is huge. Carrier, which introduces a new kind of gameplay, which is through drone-based squadron fighter stuff, where you stay kind of at the back of the back end of the map, and you send out your drones to do damage far, far away, where you say safe. However, I will say I have seen this thing hold its own, even being attacked by 3 people and taking 2 of them out before going down, so it definitely can hold its own. You do not have to worry about the thing just dying instantly as soon as it gets taken over, which is a little strange, but sort of makes sense. Next is the Infiltrator, which is a new stealth ship, which is both good and bad. 1, it's a stealth ship. Yay! 2, it's a stealth ship. Crap. It has a new kind of attack, different from the Assassin. It can still cloak and everything like the Assassin, but it can't jump to the person, and it, I believe, uses a more ranged kind of attack. It uses drones, which I guess is kind of like a little lag time, really, to paint its targets, where it can then use a giant ion cannon thing to inflict area of effect damage. How far away that area of effect damage actually is, it could be like 10 meters, it could be 500 meters. All depends. Plus, it also has a very, I want to say useful, I haven't used the thing, as you can see with my tech tree, so yeah, but if it has the ability to disarm its opponents, and I'm not sure if that's also an area of attack, in which case it does multiple, for it to get away, which is different from the Assassin, which is a very, very nerve-wracking thing to play. So the next thing that has been added to the game are some new crew members, which maybe in the game don't actually do very much, except for maybe the engineers, because they actually add health, but other than that, there are some new interesting crew members that you get. First, there's some new jobs, so you get like engineer, I'm sorry, not engineer, you get repair, you get jump core, you get CAG, you get utility officer. And those all have their interesting new little abilities. So jump cores, it makes it you can jump around faster, but in the end of the day, they're just kind of cool to have. They give you tiny little minute bonuses, and it's just more of a choice of who do you like listening to for their snarky remarks. On top of that, for anybody who's in the free weekend, me, we got the Mighty Jingles, which, if you don't know who the Mighty Jingles is, he's a YouTube guy who does World of Tanks, World of Warships, War Thunder, and he introduced me to this game in the first place, so that's him. So, interesting new crew members, which may or may not actually do anything in the future. They, at the moment, really don't. Okay, next on the list is ramming. Ramming, these are back to more game mechanic changes. Ramming has been kind of altered. It's more based on, I believe, ship mass, not ship speed. Yes. It's first mass, then speed, in which case the bigger ship will usually take less damage than the smaller ship. How you distinguish between a big ship and a small ship is an interesting kind of conundrum. Plus, the speed of the small ship might have a mass equal to that of the big ship, depending on the speed, so that'll be interesting to see. Next, we have key bindings. Oh. Yay! It took long enough. Now we can change our buttons to better suit our own style. For me, I'm very glad because I can use my shift instead of my control to move up and down. Because before it was a widget to jump to places, much like the button 5. I liked using button 5. I did not like using the shift. The shift would randomly send me to random places by accident. Next, upgrades. Upgrades have been kind of tweaked and balanced a little bit. So, your repair modifier goes up as your upgrade goes up, and how much you get repaired also goes up as you gain more health through upgrades. However, it's repair, so if you're getting shot at, it's not really something you're worried about. Next, strategic map. The strategic map is a new ability. If you click tab, you can bring up a bigger map than your little mini map, which has more detail. It will show you the roster of people on each side, depending on the team and what they have. It would also show you the respawn timer if somebody has been destroyed, which is nice. This is just a little bit more detailed. It shows you more exact positions, and yeah. The last major universal balance thing has been a kind of everybody standardization of flak. Flak for everybody does 40 damage a second. It has a range of 3,000. And its fire rate is 0.25 seconds. So that's lovely. Its duration also, however, has been minimized. So instead of 30 seconds like usual, it only does 15 now with the same cooldown. Also, it does damage to ships now, not just fighters. Which means if you're in a close combat ship, it's an extra little bit of extra damage. Plus, if there is an assassin or infiltrator, depending on how they work, it means you can throw your flak out and you can keep them spotted the entire time. Oh ho ho. Interesting, is it not? So that's nice. Okay, so now for more individual kinds of things. Let's see, jump abilities for ships that have the jump abilities, so like the assassin and the hunter, and a bunch of other ships. It is no longer considered an ability, so the disruptor's ability shutdown does not work on them anymore. Ugh. Alright, now for more ship-specific stuff. The Destroyer. The Destroyer has a increased range and speed to match its photonic charges. These charges were hard to use, you had to lead them an and the speed increase I hope is a very significant speed increase, because with its extra range it might just be the exact same thing over again. We'll see. Next, Reaper. I don't have the ship. Scythe Beam has been supposedly glitch fixed, because it glitched out sometimes. Damage for its Scythe Beam will depend on its range, so at point blank range it should do only like 350 damage by itself, and at a farthest range it should do 15,000, so ranged combat's kind of slightly more encouraged. I don't know what the actual max range of the Scythe Beam is, however. Its damage increase is also has a damage increase. I have this ship. The Brawler. The Brawler's main weapons have been decreased in damage. They only do 44 damage per shot, which is interesting. However, it still does a extreme amount of damage at close range, so it'll just take you a bit longer, I guess. Next, the Assassin. Sorry. The Assassin, its cooldowns have been decreased to increase its survivability, which is very nice. So, however, this only affects its blink ability and its decoy ability. This is about the use of the Assassin in games with a whole bunch of smaller, faster ships. So, you know, no flagships, no snipers, no carriers, I guess. Also, the the accuracy of its missiles have been increased, so you have a smaller amount of spread for each shot. Instead of 3 as it was, it's now 2. Not a very big difference, but still, it's there. Decoys, which create a mirror image of the assassin, have decreased life and decreased cooldown. Standard 1 has a lifetime change from 45 seconds to 30 seconds. The cooldown changed from 60 to 45 seconds. Should probably be showing this in the loadout. The shield decoy has undergone a refit and is now the quick draw. Health changed from 5,000 to 500. Lifetime changed from 45 seconds to 10 seconds, with a cooldown change from 90 to 40. And the jump decoy has also had a few changes. Its cooldown has just been changed from 90 seconds to 50 seconds, which is nice. Also, the blink to target ability has been decreased, so it's only 20 seconds instead of 27 seconds. So it has a decrease of 7 seconds, which is nice. And the last ship, no, still there. And the sniper. The sniper's ability to pitch its main gun, which means elevation, so how high it can aim up, how low it can aim down, has been changed. Instead of its old 75 degrees, it is only 25 now. This is to make it so that you can't dominate one side of the map by going really, really high or really, really low and sniping really, really long shots. Having played with it, I would say not much of a difference. You just gonna have to you just have to be a little bit smarter, I would say, and positioning your ship for very interesting shots. Alright, the rest of the changes kind of have to do with the point defense, making them less effective, and how missiles interact with ships. And the rest of that is also drones. Lots of drone changes, which I'm not going to go over because there's a lot of it, and these are small variances when it comes to actual damage for these ships. Only with the carrier would it actually be a substantial amount of damage, so only small amounts of damage. Most of it is also health, so. Also, missiles. Missiles have also been changed, increasing their health, their speed, and sometimes their damage as well. The rest are fixes and UI changes. For example, the new tech tree looks beautiful, which with the 012 thing, I'm assuming that they're going on to they're trying to like differentiate the ships with tiers or something. Or they're just doing it for counting ability. Who knows? So, that is the May update. And this is where I go on about how I think it's going to be interesting for the game and how it's kind of progressing in its development, how I think it is. The Infiltrator, in its introduction, is more or less just an addition to the stealth concept that has already been defined by the Assassin within the game. So that's just more like adding the same thing, but it's a very different firing model as well, which may make it a more interesting kind of ship to use, but who knows. Its disarmability, however, kind of worries me, because on the one hand, it helps increase the survivability, because it sounds like it's a more ranged weapon, unlike the Assassin, and the drones, it will take a while for them to be launched, and then to actually get there. So using that disarmability to disarm your target, then to make sure you don't take any damage for however long the disarm lasts, to then deliver your payload of that ion beam cannon thing, sounds like good in theory, but as a person trying to counteract it, it sounds like I will be disabled for, I'm going to go off the disruptor's disarm, 6 seconds. In that time, these drones will paint me. Okay. After that point, the ion beam has probably been charged, which means I get hit with a ridiculous amount of damage and I can't do anything. Which kind of makes it kind of, I want to say game-breaking because it sounds worrisome to me. Because it sounds like a really, really powerful ship with an alpha damage that is insane, and it can get away and not take any damage efficiently. I'm assuming they'll balance it out with like, oh, it has a ridiculously long recharge, or the drones are really slow, or something like that, but I'm only thinking that only goes so far, because you're an assassin, you're sitting cloaked pretty much the entire game almost, except when you want to fire or you're trying to get somewhere really quickly. So your argument about the reload is kind of negated by just the gameplay of the ship. But I will find out when I actually get the thing and use it. As to the carrier I like. The carrier is something interesting for the game. It introduces a more laid-back style because it's more strategic. You have to point places, you have to use drone squadrons, you have to worry about assassins and, well, now infiltrators coming after you because you'll be isolated at the back of the map while the enemy team is advancing at you. So if you have teammates keeping them distracted and you're supporting them from long range, kind of clever but more shippy, you have to worry about an assassin or an infiltrator coming up and appearing and you not noticing because you'll be in kind of, I would assume, a strategic kind of view. So you'll be looking at it from a, I would assume, top-down or tactical map kind of style. What it kind of makes me think of is a more... I'm gonna have to use this comparison because it's the only one that comes to my mind instantly. It sounds like the use of an aircraft carrier in World of Warships, and if anyone hasn't watched it, it's kind of the same thing. You get thrown up into a top-down view and you have to kind of real-time strategy your way through the game, sending out your planes and recalling them in order to reload and stuff. So that's kind of how it sounds like to me for the carrier, which to me is a good thing, because one, it means the game is getting a little bit more depth and fitting to more playstyles. Second, it adds a little bit more tacticality and also a little bit more interesting gameplay. If, say, they increase the amount of ships each team has, they become less detrimental, but it also means that they might become extremely dangerous in large numbers. So like three on a team could probably take down a ship. Do I know if that could actually happen? No, I've never used it yet, so don't quote me on that. But it's definitely a very interesting ship. It has a stupid amount of health, so actually the infiltrator or the assassin would actually have to do at least 2 runs. Also, because of where the carrier is going to be anyways, it's going to be over by the jump in area anyways, so he'll probably be within his little rig thing getting free health as soon as you hit him. So we'll see. I guess other ships and how they've been affected. Missiles are more important. They do more damage, so that's always nice. That I don't have a problem with. My sniper shield still hasn't been fixed, but that's a personal thing I'll be going on for a video. And the other ships, I can't really see very much problems. Their flak has been increased in... flak has been helpful, so that's always nice, because one, the assassin can't get away from you, or it can't cloak to get away from you now, because you can throw your flak up and it will keep it pinned within 3,000 meters, so that's nice. Other than that, it's more or less kind of the same. The sniper can't do much of an angle of shot, so it can't go super high and super low, but you just kind of have to stay back and just not have a high enough elevation to max out your gun, which isn't necessarily a problem, so it just kind of forces you to stay low, which I guess is actually quite nice. I mean, I haven't found a problem with it. So, yeah, I guess that's it for the May update. Choose your crew, choose your ship. I hope to shoot you soon, so see you in game, and have a nice day.